Suave afternoon, Suave afternoon, Suave afternoon. This is Brother Suave, your mind-blowing, thought-provoking, and eye-opening on-air personality, life coach, psychotherapist, author, and creator. Hope you guys having a suavelous day.
Yeah, and with that, let's commence to pay. Okay.
I'm so suavelous, you so suavelous.
Together we can fix the trauma that's befallen us.
Divine social interactions remains marvelous.
Mind-blowing, suavelicious talk, higher consciousness. But think, let not your hearts be troubled, Dr. Brother Suave.
Divine light give you double.
Greetings, this is Dr. Brother Suave, your mind-blowing, thought-provoking, and eye-opening on-air personality, life coach, psychotherapist, author, and divine social therapist, and your host of Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave. Listen, we're concluding our entire month of life after the gridiron and professional sports. It has been an amazing, or should I say, suave-amazing journey. Some great interviews, man, some great stories, some matters of the heart, but also a story of perseverance. I just want to thank you guys who've been showing up, showing out. Thank you, Fred Jones. We have a lot of people showing in each and every week, former athletes who definitely understand and empathize and just can identify with the stories of our guests throughout the week. Man, we started off, man, we had a Miami legend, Melvin Bratton. We just started off really, really great. Last week we had Javon Nanton and Enzo Armella. Man, these were just some great stories. I'm just so happy. And for me, I'm happy because, again, for myself, life after sports, you know, I got a chance to, you know, play football. I was a professional wrestler, national champion in judo. Listen, I really enjoyed myself, but I'm going to tell you, I am so happy for life after the gridiron and professional sports. I got a chance to go get an education, wrote some books, practice mental health. And I'm just really happy that I had an opportunity because it is life. Sometimes you have some struggles, but once you find your place, make your mark, man, it's all so amazing. So listen, I just want to share this. It was a very challenging week for me. For the past week and a half, it was just been some challenges. I was closing on the house. It canceled about 3 or 4 times. And the last minute, it was just a lot of challenges, just like life. But at the end of the day, it's all worth it. So I have to just be thankful that God woke me up to see another day I never seen before, another day to get it right, and another day to just, you know, just make apologies and just do things that I made mistakes, and I'm just happy because a lot of people didn't get a chance to see this day. So I'm very blessed. I just want to give a special shout out for the people who was there for me during this journey, because I'm gonna tell you, coming from all the Midwest and staying at Airbnb for about 30-something days, 3 days in the hotel. And I just want to thank Ricardo and Renee Richardson for allowing me to stay in their home for 2 weeks or 19 days. That was a blessing. You know, they definitely made me feel very, very comfortable. Also, my cousin, Thomas Jones, he allowed me to stay in his house. You know, when we didn't close, he still provided me that grace. I just want to thank you, cuz. And also my aunt, the day I was supposed to close, so I was just thought I was free, did the close and got all my documents, but guess what? We didn't. So I last minute her and say, I need to stay over here tonight. But guess what? The next day I got my keys. So it was a struggle. But I also want to thank Tim from driving all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, having my back, man. You know, it's like very appreciative. I appreciate her, and I thank God for it. And last but not least, I want to thank my mentor, Wallace Durham, aka Brother Wally, the man that's been there throughout this whole journey, find himself just getting, you know, being there for me. I was very frustrated. Anybody knows when it comes to buying property. I've been through this so many times, but it's just always something going on. But I just want to thank. And the message behind all this is that, you know, we have big circles, but I like my circles to get small and firm, because these people, no matter what, they have you back when you really need them. And I just want to tell you guys, I appreciate you. I love you. And just want to tell you that. So tonight we're going to be closing out our month of life after the gridiron. So tonight we're going to be talking to my very special guest, Mr. Irving Thomas and Guy Wheeler. Still waiting on Guy. There's probably some technical difficulties, but he definitely will be here. But tonight we do have our very special guest, Mr. Irving Thomas. He's Miami Carol City brother, a great athlete, one of the best ever done it in high school. One of the first Dade County was invited to be a McDonald All-American. That was something. So you know he was going to be great. And also he played for Kentucky, Florida State, and then he ended up playing for the LA Lakers. Man, he's just an incredible athlete, incredible father, incredible family member, incredible husband. So I look forward to talking to him and allowing him to share his story. So without further ado, he's going to bring our tonight's guest on Social Delivery with Dr. Brother Suave. Hey, what's going on, Irving? What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I'm so glad to be here, Dr. Brother Suave, my family.
Yeah,
really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You know, for you guys to know, a lot of times I have people that I'm associated with. I tend to have relationships for years and years and years, and I try to, the way I'm in public is the way I'm in private. So I always try to give people respect, honor them, love them, and just always edify them. And I'm going to continue to do the show today. Yes, we're family, but I'm going to always treat them as professional, the great father I watched. But I got a little teared up because, see, we always see people on TV. We always see them, our heroes, and we always say, man, you don't want to meet your heroes. But I'm going to tell you something. Irvin is a hero that you would love to meet because he has stood the test of time of being a great father, a great husband. I mean, not putting pressure on him, but just always been that down-to-earth person and just showed me love always. I call him, he check on me. He's a very busy person, but guess what? He's there for me. Even though it's 3 hours difference, he's had so much to do even right now, but he's here for me. And I just want to tell you, I thank you, I love you, and I appreciate you, Irving.
Hey, no problem. I love you too, and I appreciate you. And thank you for such a kind introduction. I really appreciate it.
So again, our topic is life after the gridiron. And professional sports. So tell us a little bit about you from the beginning, the humble days from coming from up north to coming down to the desert south and being the great athlete that you became. So tell us a little bit about that journey initially.
Oh man, well, it's really a long story, but I do come from humble beginnings. My parents are immigrants to this country. My father's from Jamaica, and my mother's from Honduras, and I'm first generation in this country. And it was humble beginnings, because we weren't rich. We were just average, people living in Opelika and Miami Gardens. And my father was a sign painter, and my mom worked in a hotel answering the phones. And, so I grew up in my father's business, cutting wood and painting signs and, cutting yards and all that kind of stuff, So, like I said, it was all humble beginnings. It was nothing. We didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth for sure. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I was in elementary school one day. And I've always, been tall and taller than everybody else. So I was just playing basketball on the park. And I think it was about the 4th grade in '77. I saw an NBA game on TV, which, at that time, NBA games weren't on TV every night like they are now. So I saw the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA Finals. And I don't know, I just put it out in the universe and said, hey, I want to play in the NBA. And that's really the essence of what it started. And every day after that has been a lifelong journey of, trying to make that dream come true. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but that was always the dream. Played in elementary school, played in middle school, played in high school, winning a state championship, went to the University of Kentucky, didn't play very much, transferred to Florida State, got a chance to play a little bit more. We did not get drafted, so I had to try out for the Lakers and really earn it the hard way. End up playing really well that summer, making the team and getting all the way to the NBA Finals in 1991.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was, a very, very exciting time and a rewarding time, because you had a lot of ups and downs. but was able to accomplish the goal that I started in elementary school. So I'm very proud of that. And now I'm
Yeah,
still at the Lakers. I've been here. Actually, I'm here in the offices. We have practice today. Training camp started yesterday. So we're here. We have draft meetings. I've been working, as you said, scout with the Lakers for the last 20 plus years. So we have meetings, and we have some new guys, great guys. And so we're here getting a feel for the team and getting ready for the season.
yeah. People have stories, and that's a great one. I mean, we're going to go in a little depth on some of the stories, but tell me a little bit, like, again, these expectations, of being, because you was like incredible. Everybody talked about you because, we finished the same year,
Right.
And 85 was live. So,
Of course.
and so it's like, and it's like being a McDonald All-American. Nobody from Dade County, because, New York, all these other places, but you first, history setter. How'd you feel, man, when they tell you was the first?
I mean, it's something that I was very proud of. I think when you're playing, and you're playing for the right reasons, you're playing for the love of the game and the love of sports. It's the competition in the game that is the love. And so all the other accolades and things like that come, that's a part of it, and you're thankful for those things. But just having the opportunity to play the game you love, that's really what it was all about. But I was very proud of that. I really was.
Yeah, that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, and I'm still very proud of that. It took a lot of work. We have, as we have 3 sons, and I was in there playing high school basketball, and I was telling them recently, like, I didn't just pick up a basketball and was a natural. I was uncoordinated, and I needed a lot of work and a lot of years. And but I was just playing basketball and having fun, and improving at the same time. So it just really started as something that was fun to me. And year after year of practicing every day and doing all the work that it takes to improve, I got better and good enough to be a McDonald's All-American and win a high school state championship.
Speaking of the boys, all of them are finally taller than me now, right? I'm 6'2".
Yeah, they're like they're like the 6'4", 6'5" range.
Yeah,
so they're sprouting up there.
Yes, because I remember at the funeral they was like, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah, they've grown since then.
The McDonald All-American. Any of them had any levels of success that year? I mean, a few years after.
Any of my teammates?
Yes.
You mean in the McDonald's game or in high school?
The McDonald.
Oh yeah, all of the players from the McDonald's game, they all went to Division I schools, and I'm safe to say, it's a bunch of them that played in the NBA. Yeah, but they all went to Division I schools. They all went to big schools. Basically at that time, the McDonald's game is the top, 24 players in the country. So and it's still the same way now. So they all went to major schools and had successful careers.
Okay, so listen, you was around greatness and you became greatness. So what we're gonna do, again, like I said, we're going to, and then we're gonna just go into station identification, and we'll be right back with Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave.
Tune in and stream live now. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, is now being broadcast on NPN Voice. NPN Voice can be found on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, and now on Audible and Amazon Music, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, now on NPN Voice. NPN Voice. Got voice. You heard? Programs like this are made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, iBlisters Digital Media Creative, and from contributions to NPN TV from viewers like you. Thank you.
All right, we're back with Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave and our very special guest, Mr. Irving Thomas. Yes, the great Irving Thomas, man. I'm gonna tell you, you know what? We didn't have that many people coming out of South Florida, so we got to recognize you as the icon, the GOAT. Whoever done it since you? I mean, I know you humble, but anybody? Any names?
Yeah, I mean, you have James Jones, I think, that's done very
Yeah, I
well for
remember.
himself, the president of the Suns.
It's pretty hard. It's
Pretty
okay.
hard.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity to not, to bow out gracefully. It's okay. We all know you. We all know you great. So listen, leaving Kansas City, going to Kentucky. I was
Right.
looking at a picture. First of all, I don't even like the way David Robin was so close to you. I think he hit you in the back and probably messed up your little chances, so you had to get out of there. Because when I was watching, like, first of all, he was a little too close to you. You know what I'm saying? And then he was hovering over you. He could have went to another center. Why he got to be with that wasn't right. I didn't like it, but it's okay. You got out of there. So what was it like playing against him in those early years?
That was tough. I think that game, he killed us. Sorry, I never forget it. He had 45 that night in the college game, which,
that's a lot.
Yeah, on national TV. That really, really, was the beginning of the world knowing how good he was.
Yeah.
But I just remember guarding him, and I told him this recently. I ran into him somewhere, and I guarded him in the game, probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes or so. And he hit me in the head 2 times And I think my ears are still ringing from him elbowing me in my head twice. And I told him that story, and of course he laughed. And but I was serious. I still got that ringing in my ears. But it was
Yeah, but
fun.
you know what? I think he was too old. Wasn't he old playing in college?
A little bit older, because was in the military and didn't play his first 2 years, but still he was something else.
Yes.
He was something else. Yeah.
Yes, he was up there.
He was a great player.
So your thoughts about transferring to Florida State? I know that's something you needed to do to improve your opportunity to get to the league, correct?
Yeah, I did. And like most, I'd say African American athletes, you love the game, but you also need to use it to try to make something out of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, I wanted to make it in the NBA. Was not only my dream to do, but I also wanted to, get the resources to be able to help my mom, who was a single mom. And so many of us are in the same boat, So when I went to school, my only mission was to get to the NBA. So I didn't really get into the culture of, because going to Kentucky, that's a huge deal, and the fans are passionate, and you can kind of get caught up into that. I didn't care nothing about that. I wasn't playing. Yeah. And all I knew is I had to find somewhere to go play so I could make my dream come true, so I can help my mom. That was it. But looking back on it, some of my greatest friends were some of my teammates at the University of Kentucky. And then Florida State was just a terrific experience, as you can see.
Yeah.
In my school today.
So that's the thing. Sometimes, just like when I tell people about pursuing an education, people get caught up on what school, but they got to realize that the accomplishment is get the credentials so you can get the career so you can make money.
Right.
I know we like to market things, but the bottom line is the money that you can provide for your family. That's what's important.
Sure. And that's an issue that I have with, us as a society. We've been kind of culturally conditioned to think that, African American athletes are supposed to stay in college for 4 years to get a degree, instead of maybe going to school for a year and then going to the league. And my question is always, now if a regular student was a freshman and he was offered $10 million to leave as a freshman in a 5-year contract or whatever the situation is, I think not only the students, but also the professors and everybody else would leave, you know what I mean? So we should be kind of held to that same standard of, the bottom line is
absolutely
to go to school.
Yeah. And so you have to be mindful of those things. And there's a lot of double standards out there.
Sure.
Yeah. So now here you are, no longer playing at the college level, not getting drafted. What was that like emotionally?
Yeah, it was a roller coaster. It really was. It was. I remember draft night, because it's a long process in the summer that a lot of people, don't realize. So I remember, draft night was very disappointing and hurtful. And I even left during the draft in the second round. I said, I can't take it anymore. And then by the time I came back, the Lakers had called and invited me to come to Summer League. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I had multiple teams, but I always, just the way I'm made up is I always wanted to go play where the best was. That's why I went to Kentucky. And so I said, I'm going to, people kind of thought I was crazy because I wanted to go to the Lakers. That's a championship level organization. Well, that's where I want to be, So I came out here and I wanted to be out here so bad. I probably played some of my best basketball and ended up making the team as a rookie free agent. And we had 3 rookies that year. So, I just wanted it. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, that picture, I don't have anymore. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking at Worthy. What's the dude? Vlade? What was the dude name?
Yeah, it was Vlade Divac.
Magic. James Worthy. I mean, and Kareem. I'm like,
Byron Scott.
I mean, you
AC
on the
Green.
same team of these greats, and I don't think people realize the skill set that you have to be. First of all, the NBA is very hard to get into. To make the team is hard. To be on the same team, and then championship team.
Then
and you got a chance
championship team.
to, play in the league, one of the best teams in NBA history, and play in the championship, bro.
Yeah, and it's really a process,
It is.
I never got, because it was something I had a vision for when I was in elementary school. So I wasn't like, blown away because I was there. I already had a vision for that, but there's so many things that come with that. Is once you get here, now you got to try to stay. And then once you're here, you have to prove that you're good enough. And once you prove that you're good enough, then your teammates, they'll embrace you and you become a part of the fraternity, part of the family. So I think I was able to do that, and was one of the greatest, probably the greatest, sports experience of my life.
Yeah. And so, and I'm like, it's just so amazing to see these journeys. So our interview is going to be like this, but this is the story of life, because you guys, when we finish this interview, you're going to see what I'm saying, how he's such a great person, because you're hearing the highs and lows and never giving up. But at the end of this story, it's going to be a great one. So listen, playing in the championship with one of the greatest, and seeing like, I could be in the league forever and make all these billions of dollars, and I can make sure I look out for my cousin, give him like $10 every week or something, get some gas or something. But anyway, so things change professionally.
Right.
Let's talk about that, going from here and then got to go away on the other side of the world.
Yeah, that was tough. I wanted to be a Laker so bad, and it was so much fun playing with those guys, because they made the game simple. They knew how to play, and all they tried to do was win. They weren't worried about stats. They weren't worried about nothing individual. It was all about winning and winning the championship. I learned so much from those guys. I'm so thankful for them. And then my second year, I was the last cut. And even to this day, I have never cried so bad. That was the most, almost like ripping your heart out your body and getting run over by a truck. But then you got to continue, you got to keep going, and to try to, make a career out of it. And end up going to Italy, playing in Italy, France, and Spain. The longest time was in Italy. And my wife was there as well. And we had the greatest time. It was difficult at first. It took about 1.5 years to get adjusted to, living abroad in a different culture, language, it's different everything. But I got a chance to learn the language, learn Italian, and just met so many fantastic people. I had an unbelievable experience over there. One that I don't think I would trade that experience for more years in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing about it, I think sometimes, again, when you prioritizing this other 4-letter word called life, it may be in the NBA, but I'm telling you, traveling abroad, playing definitely is a different experience. It's like, like wrestling. It was fun, but you're right here, America. It's just a different setup in terms of audience. But when I was overseas, wrestling and other countries, that was a different experience. And I loved it.
Absolutely. I'm
talking about these people treat you like gods, Yeah.
I felt more comfortable and safer abroad than I did in America. I really did. But it was a chance to detach from America and American life. And I learned so much more about myself living abroad, having quiet time and being to travel and see so many unbelievable places at a young age. And
at a young age.
And still playing ball. Yeah.
And then it's the things that also, when you play and go, you learn different coaches, but you learn languages, something that you probably would never have done.
would have never done. Actually, I failed Spanish, and my mom speaks Spanish. I failed Spanish twice in college. I don't know. I just couldn't, but when I went to Italy and it was all around you, it's on TV and your teammates, I had awesome teammates. They help you with the language, and I got a tutor, and then I learned how to speak Italian fluently, just because I was consumed by it and it was all around me. So I never thought I would be able to do that, but what a great experience.
Yes, man, that's the thing. And it's just a whole different experience, Yes, this is the NBA, but this is over there in Europe and everything. You learn a lot. And again, it's a great experience,
You learn a lot about the world, and you also learn a lot about yourself.
Yes, yes. So now you play, I guess close to 7-8 years or whatever. So here's the like they say, the turnaround to a story. Like, wait a minute, here he is playing for his team. He loved the team, and a lot of times you're like, wait a minute, how in the HE double hockey stick I get back over here?
Yeah.
In a different capacity. This is when people say, wow, how things work out. Let's talk about coming from Europe and getting back home.
Yeah, that's that's a story in itself. But basically, I came home. I had an injury, and I knew I was done. So I came home, and we transitioned back home. Had a daughter. We found a home, and we found a home in Florida, and so we came back, and I was doing nothing. And my wife just told me one day that I should call the Lakers and see if they have anything for you. And I was like, you got to be crazy, because I had been out of the country 7 or 8 years. I was like, what do you mean? So she stayed on me. And eventually I picked up the phone and I called Jerry West and left a message. I swear, I didn't even think he would remember me, and I didn't think he was going to call me back. And he called me back, and I almost lost my mind. I couldn't believe it, and so we talked on the phone. And once that happened, I was like, oh, it's on now. But I tell people, the Lakers didn't come looking for me. I had to go to them. So I started doing all kind of stuff, going where they were. I flew out to California, and I came to the office, and I put on the suit, told them, I can help you guys. So it took me about 2 or 3 years to be able to get an opportunity.
Yes.
But I had to work for it. I had to fight for it, and I had to let them know I was serious.
Yeah.
And I got an opportunity of a lifetime, and I've been here ever since.
Yes. One thing about wifey, you didn't know I could make her laugh. I'm just saying, she about that business, boy.
She is.
Yes.
She is something else. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely great to have the family intact and to have a great story, great wife, great children. That daughter of yours, I always loved her, man. She just a doll. What is she doing right now? I haven't seen her since the funeral.
Thank you. Well, she graduated from Spelman College last year. And then, she was at Spelman right there in Atlanta. And right now she's back in South Florida. She's back in South Florida. She works in a commissioner's office in Miami.
Okay. I haven't been to the house in a while, but I did talk to Dee last week. So
yeah, well, you're always welcome. You know that.
Yes, yes.
That.
So what we're gonna do? We're gonna take another station identification, and we'll come right back to Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave.
Programs like this are made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, iBlister Digital Media Creative, and from contributions to NPN TV from viewers like you. Thank you.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brandy the Disconnector, wife, show host, entrepreneur, investor, and ICS certified life coach, here to tell you that I'm on NPN TV, the network that is by us and for us. Lock in and let's get it.
Suave afternoon, suave afternoon, suave afternoon. This is Brother Suave, your mind-blowing, thought-provoking, and eye-opening on-air personality, life coach, psychotherapist, author, and creator. Hope you guys having a suaveless day.
Yeah, and with that, let's commence to pay.
Okay, I'm so swavelous, you so swavelous.
Together we can fix the trauma that's befallen us.
Divine social interactions remains marvelous.
Mind-blowing, suavelicious talk, higher consciousness. But think, let not your hearts be troubled. Dr. Brother Suave.
Divine light give you double.
We're back with Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave with a very special guest, Mr. Irving Thomas, the man, the GOAT from the 305. Y'all say what you want. I'm not only biased, but I'm still spitting up them facts, you know? So at the end of the day, we can say whatever about the James Jones and all these other people. Ain't nobody ever done it like this man here, you know? So we're going to continue with this story of life after the gridiron and professional sports. Listen, So here, you get back, you hold this position. So being a great athlete like yourself, how do you choose athletes to get them recruited? Is it something you start in high school? Because a lot, but in the other sports, like especially football, you don't go from high school because the body has to develop, and it's just how it is. But basketball, you can go to the league. What's the difference in terms of development?
Well, I think, obviously football is a whole different animal in itself. I think from a physical and, mental maturity standpoint, there's some special athletes that can do it. But I think for the most part, most players obviously need more time. And I think what was happening is so many players felt like going straight to the league was the right thing to do, even if they weren't ready or prepared. And so a lot of players fell through the cracks because obviously once you do that, you can't go to college at all. So they made the rule that, you have to go somewhere for a year after high school to gain experience and gain some exposure. So that rule was in place, and now we have the one and done rule. But for us, we typically start scouting in high school. We can't go to high school games because it's against NCAA rules, but we can go to all-star games, the McDonald's game, the Jordan's Classic, or high school All-American games. The Hoop Summit is an international basic all-star game. So we start going to those. But they have to go somewhere for a year anyway. But the majority of what we do is scouting college games, and we try to get familiar with the high school kids, the best ones, about where they're going to go to college and follow them when they get to school.
Well, I didn't hear you say AAU. Can they go there? Because they're not officially playing for a school. They're playing for a league.
Right.
But they're high school kids.
AAU is more for high school kids when you're in high school. So they can, after graduating from high school, you can go somewhere else. You can go to a prep school. You can play internationally. You can go to the G League. You can go to the minor leagues, but you have to go somewhere after high school for 1 year, and you have to be 19 years old before you can enter the NBA. Okay.
You said something that triggered me. Now, this league, now you have the European League, these leagues, but then they have the NBA C or D League. What's the odds of them getting back in the league? Because they got the uniforms, but they got some insignias on it. But is that like something you end up getting stuck in?
Not necessarily. The G League is a great opportunity for young players to not only get exposure for example, the Lakers have a G League team and they play in the same building as we do. So, it allows guys for you to be familiar with them. You can see how they improve. You can monitor their development. So it really is a good way for not only players, but coaches and management to get an opportunity eventually to work and play in the NBA. It's a fantastic tool.
Okay. So, but the pay is significantly different.
The pace is definitely different, but there are some ways where players can make a really respectable salary. They have two-way contracts, which allows a player to play part of the season on an NBA roster and then part of the season in the minor leagues, and he can go back up and down, whenever the team needs him. So those type of players, those type of contracts, they earn more money than the average G League player, but it's still a respectable salary. It is, and it's improving every year.
Okay. So now, a regional scout and a head scout. What's the head? Like the boss?
No, I wouldn't consider that. I wouldn't say that. A regional scout kind of stays, for example, I live in Florida. I started out just working games in the southeast region of the United States. And then as year after year, your responsibilities grow. And now not only do we go all across the United States, I go all over the world, and so representing the country. I mean, I represent the organization and, looking for players all around the world. But that took time to get to that point. So now we have newer, younger guys that are here, and it just means you got a little more experience, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of time with this Laker organization, over two decades, man.
I consider myself the luckiest man alive and just a blessed person. And I tell you what, my story really is from the second I landed in Los Angeles as a young player trying to make the team through Summer League. From the second I got here, they have been so good to me that I just, I used to try to figure out why, but now I just say, hey, it's just, it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing
it is.
To be here. I've won 4 championships in my time here.
Yes.
And trying to win number 5. So it's just been unbelievable. I can't describe it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that hardware. Or you got your fingers filled, or you want to have the hand filled.
One for each of our children, and we're still trying to get to number 5. But it's a very tough period, though. Trying to make the transition from on the court to doing something else. That was a very tough period because I know really that's what our part of what our discussion is gonna be. So it's just really hard.
And so these are the things, what I was talking about, the ups and downs. But look how it all turns out.
Look how it all
beautiful
turns
children,
out.
Smart kids, brilliant wife. Look at the journey. I mean, these highs. I think you had way more highs than lows.
Yeah.
You know
what,
but
Brother Suave? I wouldn't have it any other way. I really wouldn't, especially looking back. Because everything that we from Carroll City, whatever you're going to get, you got to go fight for, you got to go earn it, and you got to work for it. So that's what had to happen, and I'm very proud of how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm glad you're able to say it because in a time where social media has people not even being able to edify yourself or praise yourself, well, people work hard. And they're not going to wait for everybody else to praise and say, listen, I'm proud of myself. You've done some things.
Yeah, I don't think about it very much, but one thing I learned about, being around the Lakers and the Laker organization is the great ones, you think they're born to do that, but they're really your hardest workers.
Yes.
He was my teammate. He was our hardest worker. Of course, Kobe was here for 20 years. I wish everybody can come to practice. He was the hardest worker. And now we get a chance to see LeBron. We're in our second day of practice. He's the hardest worker out there. He's been in the league 20 years. So there's no
Yes.
secret, to success. It takes a lot of hard work, discipline, dedication, and commitment, and all of those things to do some really positive things.
So what are y'all looking like when it comes to chances of going back to the ship again?
Well, every year, that's always the goal. I think right now we're just in our second day of practice. It's really, really too early to tell. You
Yeah.
probably wouldn't get a feel for the team until after maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 games. You kind of get a feel for, how good you possibly could be. So I really have no idea right now.
So now that you've been there all these years and your hometown is Miami, and Miami was the training to teach LeBron how to win championships because he didn't
Right.
win until he got to the Heat.
Right.
So is he using some of those skills that he learned from the Heat up there in LA? Because a couple of years ago, I mean, y'all end up beating the Heat. I don't know how it happened, but it happened nonetheless. But we did go back again. But are you showing them some skills you learned from the South Florida?
No, I can't. Yeah, I cannot say that I'm doing that. LeBron is he's
The
something.
beast.
He's something special. And like I said, I've been
Yeah.
fortunate to be around the great ones and some of the greatest of all time. And
Yeah.
he's one of the greatest of all time. His work ethic, his commitment. He's one of the greatest athletes, I think, of any sport of all
Yeah.
time. He's something. And then
mean,
his
people say,
his
but
social consciousness. His social consciousnness and opening the
Yes.
school and all the things that he stands for is also something that's very, very admirable.
Yes, and I was like, I mean, when I listen or when I read, we could say Jordan, but this man became a billionaire while still actively playing and socially conscious. He's not like, I'm not gonna keep my hands off it. He's active, and speaking and doing.
Yes.
It's not just this, but his talking and his walking.
I mean, you look at the things he's done on the court and off the court is nothing. And then you think about his background. His background, wasn't the greatest, right? So, and it is a really great example that you can't use those things as an excuse. I mean, you can, but when you have a challenged background or a challenged upbringing, like a lot of us have, the greatest thing you can do is try to use that as motivation, as fuel to be successful, and not use it as an excuse. And I think he's a perfect example of that.
Well, you know what? And I know I appreciate you edifying him, but I can see a lot of him in you. Or you and him, should I say? Because I mean, he kept his family.
He's got
you never forget about your family, and you've been blessed. And look, I mean, think about it. His story is one of them dreams come true, but yours is too.
His story is, well, I thank you for that. I really appreciate that. But yeah, you got to think about, LeBron, especially with all the expectations he had coming out of high school, and then to fulfill
Same thing with you. Same thing with you.
Right.
Come on now. You're always humble, but think about it. I mean, you were the first to ever do it, and think about him, a great superstar in high school. Sometimes things don't always show up, but when you look at you in terms of your life, beautiful family, and thing is, success is defined of reaching those goals. I mean, I don't know what his goals that he had accomplished now was something that he always wanted to do.
Right.
But you were where you want, and you say you wouldn't trade it for the world. So, I mean, you're a blessing to many.
I feel that way, and I realize that every single day, but I appreciate that. I really do.
So is there anything that you would like to tell anyone listening tonight about staying true to your dreams and staying humble and working hard?
Really good question. I think that, and I'm kind of dealing with that with my daughter, because I think I call it the gift of knowing exactly what you want to do in life and having that kind of clarity. And not everybody has that kind of clarity.
Yes.
Right? And it's okay. It's all right. And so sometimes it takes you to try different things and to find your passion. But once you do find it, I just think you just got to go after it with everything you got and not settle or become complacent with or distracted because of whatever it is, whether it's money, or all of the. And I use the example of LeBron and some of the great ones all the time. They have the best of everything, but the game always comes first. Their commitment is to the game first. They have the best of everything, but they manage those distractions very, very well. So follow your passion, follow your dreams, and this is America. That's how I say this is America. You can make it happen.
Well, man, it's been a blessing. I thank you for showing up. I know I'm being conscious of the time because I know y'all have so much going on there. And so I appreciate you for showing up, and I thank you for the blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, this has concluded our month of Life After the Gridiron and Professional Sports. We closed it out with the GOAT of Miami of basketball. He's not saying it, but I'm going to call him the GOAT. I'm going to name him the GOAT because nobody did it like he has done and nobody has repeated it. So thank you for guys for showing up with Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave. Just remember, great minds reach great places. I love you. I mean it. Bye-bye.
Tune in and stream live now. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, is now being broadcast on NPN Voice. NPN Voice can be found on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, and now on Audible and Amazon Music, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. Social Therapy with Dr. Brother Suave, the podcast, now on NPN Voice. NPN Voice. Got voice. You heard?
Hello, my name is Goma Marie Conde. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified trauma counselor. And I am on NPN TV.
This program was made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, and from contributions to NPN TV from viewers like you.